I watch you. I see the hatred in your eyes, well hidden behind courtly graces. I listen. I know the terrible darkness that hides behind your well-rehearsed lies. I wait for you at the edge of sanity. I taste the pain in your mind, the yearning to end this charade. I make home in the darkest pits of your soul. In the shadows I bide my time. I wait patiently for you to open your eyes and realize that it is by my will alone that you draw breath. For I am Tzeentch, and you are my puppet who dances to my tune. All are pawns to the great deceiver, Tzeentch, one of the 4 great chaotic powers that not only holds sway over the realms of chaos, but the very fabric of reality itself. So strong is his influence that Tzeentch is known by many names: the Lord of Magic, the Raven God, the Great Deceiver, T'Char, Jianxi, the Eagle, Changer of Ways, and Great Conspirator. Like his other dark brothers, Tzeentch is a god of many things, and it is a common misconception that he only embodies destructive qualities. He is the god of magic, change, evolution, destiny, lies, trickery, and learning. To follow Tzeentch is to search for knowledge which is usually very far out of reach of mortal capabilities, for he presents himself to be that of a scholar and a teacher to any who may listen. Though you may get the knowledge you seek from the Changer of Ways, you will also bind your very soul to him, and become a pawn in his great schemes. Tzeentch's presence can be felt throughout the whole of the Warhammer world, for when one wishes to learn, and does so, he or she empowers Tzeentch. When new techniques of learning are created, new languages, skills, and even mathematics, this goes back to the Changer of Ways, for knowledge is one of the most powerful weapons one can wield. In grimoires scribed by insane men, disciples of Tzeentch have scribbled their visions of their divine master. No 2 descriptions are alike. Sometimes the god is represented as a mist of shifting colors, or as a huge demon with a vulturous beak and multi-hued wings. Sometimes he is envisioned as a giant whose head and torso are impossibly one, with great horns rising from its shoulders, and whose skin crawls with leering faces that repeat his every utterance in 1,000 subtle nuances. The black orbs of his eyes are said to sparkle like the very endless depths of infinity, and his brow is furrowed as he is ruminating over an unsolvable puzzle. The winds of magic curl around him like a rainbow of serpents. His sacred number is 9, and his rune resembles a flame or perhaps a writhing snake. But even his runes do mean multiple things and are presented in multiple ways depending on the cultist who etches them. Tzeentch's power itself fluctuates throughout the passage of time, like that of the rest of his chaotic brothers, for the great game is in place to keep some sort of balance in the realms, that is until the time is needed for the chaotic brothers to unite for the end of days. Tzeentch, being the god of magic, has indeed held the position of the strongest chaos god many times, and time again have the other brothers united against him. It is said that many years ago, before recorded history, Tzeentch was the most powerful chaos god, but as his brothers united against him, knowing well enough that he needed to be silenced, the Changer of Ways was shattered into many fragments. Not destroyed, however, as a being of such power being put to rest for good would have grand repercussions to the very fabric of reality itself. And so Zinch was shattered, and his pieces have taken shape in a sense in the realms of the mortals. His shattered pieces, now known as spells to all those who know magic. His influence runs deep even to those who might not even be aware. Zinch is the master of all magic, and he considers all spellcasters to be his servants, whether they are aware of this dubious honor or not. A wizard who manipulates the winds of magic risks awakening the interest of the great sorcerer. If a spellcaster fails to control the fickle winds of magic, he might be dragged screaming into the realms of chaos itself. It is because of this that Tzeentch has the largest amount of cults within the Warhammer fantasy world. Any who seek knowledge may be tempted by the sway of his tendrils. The cults themselves are not small, for their secretive nature allows rapid expansion throughout civilization. Having been formed decades or even centuries ago, the membership of the cults is open to those who seek to learn, and while nobility is preferred as to fund their efforts, you may see simple school teachers, scholars, librarians among their ranks, even shopkeepers. These cults may try to gain favor from the Great Conspirator in a number of ways. They might sabotage the infrastructure of their town or city, attempt to corrupt imperial officials, or do away with them if they are incorruptible. There are even cults of Zinch within the Imperial Army which try to undermine morale by poisoning rations, waylaying paychecks, or assassinating officers. Devotees of Zinch prefer to use subtle methods of murder so that the death appears to be a tragic accident. The leader of the cult generally plans this subterfuge inspired by fervent dreams that he believes are communicated to him directly from his god. Many wish for great blessings from the Changer of Ways, and they follow him because they know he is capable of it. Imagine what possible secrets there could be to the universe and reality itself. What about extending your life and those of your family so that you may never feel the pain of death? Within reason, of course, as the great deceiver is never really honest with his followers. What he may present as a blessing may in fact be a curse. Demonhood is the ultimate reward for many of Tzeentch's followers. The prize of immortality is irresistible to short-lived humans. Tzeentch rarely fulfills his promises, however, and only rewards the most exceptional of his disciples. The favored one's body will rebel as flesh remolds itself, new limbs and tentacles sprout from muscles, and faces and chattering maws push out from his enlarged torso. If the devotee is lucky, a pair of leathery wings will unfold from his shoulders, and he will shed all vestige of humanity like an old, ragged cloak. The new demon will become a powerful harbinger of the Changer of Ways. However, the fate of many disciples is to devolve into a mewling spawn of chaos, a mindless, many-tentacled thing of terror. Tzeentch's mortal followers worship these monstrosities, hiding them in pits below their secret sanctums and feeding them human sacrifices to the Changer of Ways. While Zinch has been shattered into fragments, he is not powerless, as I have explained. He has been reforming within the realm of magic and torment, a realm of chaos where the winds flow freely, and it is impossible for mortals to understand as the rules of reality have no sway here. A land of blue and pink flame where that thought impossible exists. Castles who take shape from the outside, yet are so large that they could rival entire nations from the inside. Lakes whose water will transform you into a screaming, laughing mutant, and air which provides no oxygen, but is the very wind of magic itself. Tzeentch's worshippers believe that he reigns from an impossible fortress deep in the realm of chaos, a fortress which by all laws of reality should not exist. At its heart, protected by a crystal labyrinth of inconceivable geometry, is the hidden library, a hall of endless dimension that stores all knowledge of the universe. Zinch stares for eons into the well of eternity for clues of the past and the future that will help him fulfill his schemes. The labyrinth itself is said to be the ultimate confusion that not even demons of Zinch can traverse throughout unless the Changer of Ways has willed it so. Many demons have found themselves trapped here and wasted away into oblivion. Even demons of the other chaotic brothers have been found by the Changer of Ways, panicking throughout the labyrinth. How long they have been here, it could be impossible to tell. Not even Zinch might even know. No demons guard the crystal labyrinth, yet a journey through it remains perilous nonetheless. Only the strong-willed can negotiate its countless corridors, for the maze's walls not only reflect light, but also hope, despair, dreams, madness, and terror. As if this were not enough of a challenge, there is no fixed path through, merely a constant changing series of obstacles and traps created by Tzeentch's unconscious mind. The hidden library is a scholar's dream come true, books and tomes lost throughout the ages, secrets which no mortal can comprehend, all under one roof. What wonders may be found here is beyond our wildest dreams. At the heart of the labyrinth, safe from all the insane, is the impossible fortress of Tzeentch. As with all of Tzeentch's designs, the exact appearance of the impossible fortress varies according to the nature of the beholder's aspirations. Some perceive it to be crafted from the same crystal as the labyrinth, while others see walls of blue flame or gnarled azure stone. No matter the material, the physical structure of the impossible fortress is in constant flux. Spires and towers constantly writhe and burst forth from the fortress's heart, only to collapse and be reabsorbed moments later. Gateways, windows, and other portals appear in the eldritch building's flanks, only to fold inwards once more. There is no discernible pattern to this behavior, for the writhing shape of the impossible fortress is somehow bound to the state of Tzeentch's current schemes, and there can be no predicting such complexity. The innards of the impossible fortress are no less confounding than the exterior. Different passages and rooms obey different physical laws. That which is decreed by gravity to be up in one chamber may be down in another, or can indeed be an altered state of being entirely, such as sorrow or the past. Were a mortal to find himself in the impossible fortress, he would not live long before being driven completely mad. But then, what else is to be expected in a place where a man can travel backwards in time by walking across a room? Those who succumb to the warping nature of Tzeentch's palace collapse utterly in an implosion of consciousness and form. Such creatures are reborn as sorcerous familiars and given as gifts to Tzeentch's champions in the mortal world. And lastly, the Well of Eternity, an enigma, for not even Tzeentch knows what secrets it holds. It is the one thing Tzeentch fears to tamper with for long, for it could hold the secrets to literally everything, but it could also be the end of all things. Zinch has only once tried to understand the Well, having thrown Kairos Fateweaver, a Lord of Change, and of course an extension to his own being, into the Well of Eternity. Kairos was blessed with knowledge that is even secret to Zinch, and slowly is learning about infinity itself. But while Kairos may have been blessed, even the Great Deceiver is not foolish enough to risk the same experiment twice. From the impossible fortress does Zinch command his forces. His demons are an extension of his own will, and thus are a part of Zinch himself. While he might not go to the battlefield directly, Zinch commands from afar so that he may see all possibilities and judge as to what needs to be done. To understand Zinch is to understand chaos itself, and we all know that is truly impossible, for even chaos is not united, and even chaos is not understood by chaos. The dark gods fight among themselves, strangely enough, and not just against the mortals who stand against them. A great game of chaos. Some believe it to be the petty quarrelling of brothers. Others see it as a blessing, for while the dark gods fight among themselves for dominion over the realms of chaos, then their attentions cannot be turned to the mortal realms. A never-ending war which has likely spanned since the very birth of the chaos gods themselves, where the realms not only serve as the domain of these dark entities, but also a battleground the likes which no mere mortal could ever dream of. The dark gods of chaos each have their own particular spheres of influence, their own demonic servants, and their own territories. Yet, the realms of chaos is not merely home of the dark gods, it is also their battlefield, the arena for a great game of supremacy. The brothers are constantly at war with one another, vying for power amid the planes. Despite their myriad differences, the chaos gods share a common goal: total domination of all that is. but such absolute power cannot be shared, even amongst gods. So it is that this peculiar world is burdened by constant wars of attrition. Vast demonic armies swarm across crystal fields, venomous forests, bone-choked swampland, and rivers of churning gore, battling to the death to claim and counterclaim territory and the magical lifeblood that goes with it. If Khorne overruns a portion of Nurgle's festering garden, then the diseased foliage swiftly decays to nothing, leaving only ruddy wasteland. Similarly, should Tzeentch manage to wrest that same territory from Khorne, crystalline structures burst from the parched firmament. Zinch, of course, is not above joining with his brothers to enact a greater plan, but the rivalry between them runs deep. They will join forces, but as soon as Zinch has seen their usefulness come to its end, he will readily betray them. Of Slaanesh, he sees a pervert. The Prince of Pleasure stands as a deity of perversion and pain. There is no knowledge that can be found with his blessings, only self-indulgence which causes laziness and the mind to wander away from greater plans. Slaanesh corrupts from within, very similar to Tzeentch, but oh so different. Why corrupt the hearts of men when you can corrupt their minds? Of Khorne, he sees a brute. Physical strength might be impressive, but reckless destruction only destroys secrets, not presented. Khorne, however, is easy to trick and manipulate, and serves a purpose even to the Changer of Ways. Tzeentch may trick Khorne into launching an invasion of the Empire, knowing full well that he will fail, while the Changer's cultists readily sneak in and plant their own seeds of chaos, waiting for the perfect time to strike. And finally there is Nurgle, a thorn in his side. While both are quite comparable as knowledge is used in their being, with Tzeentch that of learning the unknown, and with Nurgle to concoct strange and wonderful diseases, Durgle seeks to remake life in his own rather passive image. Stagnation of such a way of being infuriates Tzeentch. Change is inevitable and should be constant. Now, we have mentioned much of learning, but that is not to say that Tzeentch has no armies. Even the Changer of Ways knows that brute force is needed sometimes. His demons are magical in nature and will often fight from afar, casting spells of confusion into their enemies in front of them, but sometimes a more physical approach is needed. His influence runs deep into the hearts of the Northmen, who worship the ruinous powers as their chief deities. Even tribes and clans devoted to Nurgle, Slaanesh and Khorne will have the influence of Tzeentch within their tribal shamans or seers. There are also tribes solely dedicated to the Lord of Confusion, however, but the tribes that worship Tzeentch as their sole patron are not numerous. Most marauders prefer the bloodiness of Khorne, the glittering prizes of Slaanesh, or Nurgle's gift of resilience. What Tzeentch's warbands lack in numbers, they make up for with cunning. Tzeentch's warriors are masters of espionage, subterfuge, and sudden ambush, using guile rather than brawn to disrupt and then destroy their enemies. The tribes of Tzeentch also go into battle carrying totem banners with powerful magic. A marauder of the Changer of Ways will have the mark of Tzeentch displayed prominently on his flesh, perhaps on his forehead, cheek, or right hand. His body will ripple with mutations, and his eyes might glow menacingly with the power of his god. The tribesmen might be tattooed from head to foot with arcane symbols, a painful rite of passage. Magical fetishes might hang from his belt or are braided into his hair. Crude runes are scratched into the blade of his weapon. Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch are highly individual and no two look the same. A Chaos Warrior's plate armor and shield might be engraved with intricately patterned sigils that radiate with raw power, or flow with blinking eyes or gibbering mouths. Or perhaps it is inscribed with minute arcane text, making the wearer literally a walking grimoire. The horns of his helmet might twist and form into the symbol of his master, and a rainbow of light might shine from his visor. Mutations ravage his flesh, and his chaos armor melting and reforming around any extra appendage that sprouts from his body. Some Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch are accomplished spellcasters, making them deadly and unpredictable foes. Beastmen are creatures of pure chaos, and so exalt all 4 ruinous powers equally. However, sometimes a she-gore spawns a whelp that is clearly a chosen one of the Changer of Ways, its fur patterned with the mark of Tzeentch, or its horns curling to form the god's unholy symbol. These creatures are known as Zangor, and are feared and respected among their herd. As stated before, the armies of Zinch will not attack outright unless they have no choice but to. Subtlety is the best way to venerate that of the Changer of Ways, and many cults will wait centuries before they will be able to act. A cultist who has formed a new cult may be long dead by the time that his congregation actually acts, but when they do, it is of a grand display, so let us take the time now to read over a direct account of a cultist who now rallies his men to war. All hail the glory of the great conspirator, ruiner of nations, and arch-decimator of lies. As Magister of the Occult Order of the Trioric Disc, I beseech thee, Zinch, to hear our prayers and accept our humble sacrifice, a youth of noble blood, anointed with his own tears. My brethren, it brings me great pleasure to see you assembled here to worship the Changer of Ways, he who grants us true freedom. We spit in the eyes of the Emperor who shackles us with his rules and decrees. I almost pity those weaklings who crawl at the hem of the Emperor's cloak, seeking protection he cannot provide. They fear freedom and do not deserve life. They look to the past and tremble at the thought of the glorious future that Zinch has planned for them. Their empire has been stagnating now for over 2,000 years. It is time to fell off this rotten trunk, so that new and stronger shoots may grow and eclipse it. Soon, my brothers and sisters, soon. The end times are nigh. A curse on the Theogonists who bind our souls with false rituals. They demand that we worship feeble gods, that toothless dog Ulrich, craven Shalya, goddess of weakness, the hag Verena, whose obsessive laws constrict like a noose around the neck of a condemned thief. These deities are so impotent that they have even allowed themselves to be upstaged by a mortal usurper, the tyrant Sigmar, a pretender god with pretend powers. The feckless gods of the Empire demand obedience, but give nothing in return. In contrast, Zinch rewards us by augmenting our very flesh. We are proud to bear his sign on our skin, the sacred brand of serpentine flame, a symbol of his fleeting, ever-changing name. We yearn for his mutating caress, which elevates us above the mundane throng. In his wisdom, Zinch has so far only gifted us with subtle signs of his favour, so that we may remain hidden from the accursed witch hunters. But when our brethren from the Chaos Waste sweep down upon the Empire to purify with rune swords and magical flame, our flesh will erupt into a form more pleasing to our divine Lord, and we shall not be bound by the constraints of mere human sinews and tendons. And when the end times are upon the world, Zinch has intimated that I, your devout leader, will become the first among equals, a demon prince, the miracle of a mortal man given chaotic form. I shall sit at the foot of our Lord's throne in the impossible fortress, winged and magnificent and all-knowing. I swear I shall intercede on your behalf before our mighty master. Zinch is indeed generous with his gifts. It makes me laugh to think of those imbeciles in the colleges of magic whose beards grow long and white as they scratch at the surface of arcane knowledge. They will never command the magic that Zinch has bequeathed to us. They will never learn spells so subtle yet so devastating. Let us praise the Changer of Ways for allowing us to summon his formless minions to our temple, so that we may learn the arcane arts that they gibber at us. Let us thank him for guiding us to the sacred tome from which we have gleaned our invocations. We now possess the power of demigods. When chaos comes, we will topple the idols of Sigmar and supplant them with statues of ourselves. We shall tread the icon of the Warhammer underfoot, and reconsecrate Sigmar's temples to the glory of chaos, and all will fear our magic and obey us. But we cannot be complacent. We must pave the way for the coming of the hosts of Zinch, his mighty warriors and demons rippling with hellfire. Subtlety pleases our God, and we must worship him not only with prayers and sacrifices, but also with acts of intrigue and sabotage. A cunning remark will ignite a riot among the workers and peasants. Any suggestion will persuade the merchants to withhold their tithes to the imperial treasury. Our influence among the nobility is growing. The imperial court is rife with the rumors we have started discrediting the emperor's name. Perhaps it will be an aristocrat's knife that begins the civil war. What sweet anarchy a well-placed word can inspire. And with that, you know the reason of being of Tzeentch and his followers. Like the corn video, I wanted to include a lot, but from various different sources, which all can be found in the description below. The idea of this was to leave a lot of stuff open to interpretation, as obviously the Chaos Gods are seen by different people in different ways. We've covered 2 of the 4 main brothers, and soon enough we'll be able to cover Nurgle and Tzeentch. But until then, what do you think about the Changer of Ways? Is he a god that you follow? Let me know your secrets in the comments below. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.